Hey there, rock stars. I'm Allison Judkins. I'm an online educator, business strategist, and content creator helping you build a rock solid business. Today we're talking about one of my favorite topics, that's organization. I'm going to be walking you through how I plan, organize, and schedule my content across the board for my blog, YouTube, Pinterest, social media, all the works. So we're going to be covering a lot, and I'm going to be sharing my favorite tools as well. So let's get to it. So when I sit down to create my content, my second business, Seeking Neverland, for example, I have a lot of data. It's been around for 3 years, so it's established. And how I gather content for that is I look at my YouTube analytics and YouTube Studio. I look at my Search Console analytics. I look at social media, Google Trends, and Pinterest. So those are my favorite spots for looking. And if you are new and you don't have the data on the back end, like this is a new channel, I would still recommend looking at Google Trends and Pinterest. And you'll want to do some keyword research. And then once you start, kind of in the beginning, you are kind of running in the dark because you're not sure, like certain what is working and what isn't. But once, a few months go by, 6 months, you're really going to start getting the data, and then you can apply some of these. So we're going to jump on the computer, and I'm going to walk you through a few examples of how I, find content ideas. So when I'm planning my video content for YouTube, this is my second business, Seeking Neverland. It's a travel blog. I like to go into my analytics, and as you can see, this is showing the last 28 days. And this is a snapshot of the analytics, but what I do, I like to go into see more. Now, when this next window pops up, these are essentially my top videos by, views and watch time for the last 28 days. So I like to look at, top 5, top 10, and I will drill into each one of these. And if you go into traffic source, you can see that I'm getting a lot of my traffic from YouTube search, which is really good for what I'm trying to gather right now, which is content ideas. So I go into traffic source, and as you can see, these are keywords that people are typing in to find my video. And I'll do this for, again, 5 to 10 videos and see if there's any keywords that pop out that I can make a video on. This one, I really wouldn't do. Maybe how to see it, Las Vegas, or road trip to Las Vegas. That might be, road trip from California to Las Vegas. And again, I just repeat the steps. So I would go into, my second video, traffic source, and then I want to find the YouTube search and see what other keywords people are typing in. So this one right here, fun things to do in Vegas. This is a really good keyword for me. I would probably want to make a video on it because I know I have a better chance at ranking for this, or things to do in Las Vegas off the strip. These are all really good keywords. And because I'm from Las Vegas, I really have authority on a lot of the Las Vegas topics. That's how I gather my content ideas from YouTube. So the second place I like to look is Google Search Console. This is a really great place to find keywords on the content that's ranking on Google, or maybe that isn't ranking on Google, that you could revamp to help you rank. So sometimes if you're trying to plan out new content, sometimes it's okay to revisit your old content and think of ways that can be improved as well. So you don't always have to just be thinking new topics. You can also be thinking about, how can I breathe new life into old content? How can I revamp it? So Google Search Console is great for that. Now, when you're in the dashboard, you're going to want to go to this open report for search results. They've changed it a few times. But when you come to here, you see your queries. These are all of the keywords that people are typing in, that are searching for to find your content. But I like to go to pages, and my date range is for the last 3 months. You can change this to whatever you want, really, but we'll just stick for 3 months for now. And you're going to see all of your pages. And you can filter this however you want. This is going to be clicks, greatest to least. And as you can see, I rank very well for Instagram spots in Las Vegas. So when you drill into that, You can then go to the queries tab and see all the keywords that you are essentially ranking for. And I like to look in here too, because this could be a piggyback off of the content that's already performing well in Google. For example, aesthetic places in Las Vegas, best photo spots in Vegas. That is still a good second content. Best places to take pictures in Las Vegas, especially for this, because I wrote this last year, so I could even do like a version 2, an updated version for 2020. And then when you want to get back to the other screen, just X out of the page up here. And then I'll go through the process again. And you can even look at, all of your content. So this one would be, pack for Los Angeles. I drill in, I click on the queries tab, and then I can see all the other keywords that people are looking for. So this is a really good tool to have Google Search Console. I recommend you setting this up and utilizing this as well. So the third place I like to go is Google Trends. And this really is just kind of start with the broad terms. So say I know I want to talk about online marketing. Let's just see what that gives us. And the great thing about here is you can do all categories, and you can also filter it by just YouTube search. So if you're in online marketing, the related queries down here at the bottom, it'll tell you like breakout is online marketing strategy. Typo there. And then online marketing strategy. I do have a filter with just the United States, but you can look worldwide. You can really filter it here very well. Online marketing for restaurants. This is just good to look and see what's out there. What are people interested in, and refine it from here. So this is a great place to start if you don't have a lot of data of your own, but you're trying to, start getting authority on a certain topic. The next place I like to look is Pinterest. Now, if you don't have a Pinterest business account, you will want to get set up so you can gain access to your analytics. But assuming you have that, when you are here on the analytics dashboard, you're going to want to scroll down to where you see top pins. Now, I like to switch it to link clicks because my goal is always to drive traffic to my website. So I want to see which pins, which topics are driving the most traffic. Now here you'll see travel gift ideas for women, and this is just for the last 30 days. You can change this. But yeah, so for the last 30 days, these are the pins that have been driving the most clicks. Again, Las Vegas, Fremont Street is Las Vegas, best way to travel through Europe, long weekend in Charleston. So I'll kind of go down here and I'll see, I still have more to talk about on this subject, so Las Vegas. And then from there, I'll go to my Pinterest search and I'll just type in Las Vegas. I think I'm already here. And these are all of the additional search terms that relate to Las Vegas. So if you are starting out and you don't have the data, this is what I recommend doing. I recommend creating the longest tail keyword you can find, you can do in Pinterest, because you essentially want to be the big fish in a small pond. So targeting Las Vegas outfits is obviously a really popular term. There's a lot of people who are trying to rank for that, so it's very competitive. But if you did Las Vegas outfit, maybe summer plus size, that could work. But I would even go longer. Honestly, I would try to make it as long as you can. Winter, what to wear, that's good. Capsule wardrobe. So Las Vegas outfit, winter, what to wear, capsule wardrobe. You might want to replace the words to make it sound better in a sentence, but that is the approach that I would take if I didn't have the data on the back end. The longer the keyword, the greater chance you have of ranking for it. And then you just want to repeat that process until you start to gather the data and see what's working for you. I also like to look at my Instagram. Usually I'll go into my analytics and see, okay, which content had the most impressions or the most engagement. So I'll look at the content that's doing well, or what was I wearing, what was I talking about in the caption, and I'll kind of do some investigative work there and then see if I could, ride that wave and create content that's similar that might also drive engagement. So that's more of a testing environment when it comes to planning my content for Instagram. But those are my top really 5 places that I go to look for gathering content ideas. So once I've sat down and planned out the content that I like to do, I will essentially brain dump it all into my Asana. So let's jump into Asana so I can give you the overview of my workflow in Asana. Here we are in my Asana, and I'm in the content workflow project. Now when I'm doing my brain dump, when I'm gathering my content ideas from those sources that I just showed you, I will essentially create a task in here, and I will just write out the topic. And this is just example for you. And then you can go into the task, and in the description, you can write, more information, whatever you're feeling that could be good for this topic. Want to make a video, you kind of get the gist here. And then I will add a tag to it. So if I want to create this content, I know it's going to be a blog post, I know it's going to be a YouTube video, and then I will just continue down that process. So next, once I have all my content ideas, I like to assign a due date to it. And so when I assign my due date, before I move it into my due date column, I go to my master schedule, and this is what I create the content. So I know I have my content planned for the next 12 weeks. So I know when I'm planning that, and I post 3 times a week, when I'm planning, I know I have, a space here on the 14th for something. So then I'll go back to my content workflow, and I will essentially assign this a due date. From there, I will add it to my master schedule, so that way it shows up on that master schedule project. And then, I just drag it over to my assigned due date. Again, I will batch create for 6 weeks at a time. So essentially all of these, you're looking at my content that I'm still in the batch creating process, which is I'm making this video now. This is part of my batch creating. I will, once I start the draft and scripting, I just drag it over to this column. And what I like to do when I'm officially ready to sit down and start writing it, I will open this up and I use my Google Drive. So I'll go into whichever of my content pillars this falls into, and I create a new Google Doc. And I really just copy and paste over the title for now. This is before I've done any true keyword research. This is just the drafting phase. This is when I will begin the keyword research. And then I'll take any of my descriptions if I had ideas at the time when I was brain dumping everything, I'll put it in here, and then I take the Google Doc URL and I paste it into my description. I replace it in my description. Then I will just start writing the blog post, or scripting the YouTube video, whatever. I then do it in my Google Docs. And so once that process goes through, and I'm ready to film it, then I move it in my ready to film. So on Wednesdays, I film my YouTube videos. I film 2 a day. So I know when Wednesday comes around, I will go on my Asana and see which videos are ready to film. So for example, today is Wednesday, and I am filming how I plan, organize, and schedule my content for YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, all that good stuff. And if you see, I have the Google Docs in here. And if I open it up, I've pretty much have written out the script and the blog post. After I'm done filming this video, I will move it into my editing column. And then again, for pretty much the rest of the week, I will edit my videos. So once those are done and they're scheduled and they're ready to post, I will move it to my scheduled and posted column. And I only move it in this column when it is truly done, when it is in my YouTube studio with the scheduled date, it's in my WordPress with the scheduled date. And that's for the blog and YouTube. Now for Instagram or Pinterest, those, we'll get to that. So Pinterest is part of my promotion. That's how I like to view Pinterest. So once the blog post is published or the YouTube video is published, I will move this into promoted. And what I do in the promoted phase is I'm sharing it on social media. I have the pin created, but I'm posting it on Pinterest and I'm scheduling it on a tool I like to use, which is Tailwind. That is part of the promotion process. So for example, say I would go into my Tailwind dashboard after I have manually posted it to Pinterest, and then I will save it as a draft in my Tailwind, and then I will go and I will assign it to all my other group boards. Again, I will make a video on this. This is just the general workflow of thought to fully promote it for the world to see. So that's why we use Tailwind for Pinterest. Now, promoted, I also include social media in there as well. I'm promoting my content on Instagram, on Facebook. And a tool I like to use for that is Later. That's for posting, for scheduling all of my Instagram photos. And once that is done, I can finally move it into my completed column. Now going back to the planning phase, this would be a good place to look if you're trying to see which content you can breathe new life into. If you have 20, 30, 40, however many completed pieces, you can go back and look at these. You can maybe go in and do some investigative work in Search Console and see, how is this post really doing? Am I ranking well for this? Is there something different I could do to breathe new life into it? And that's really good for just recycling, so you're not always trying to create brand new content. And I did forget to mention with the promoted, I do include emails in that as well. So if you have, a weekly newsletter, a monthly newsletter, that is the time when I would promote the new content. So I hope this helped you. If you do have any additional questions, leave a comment below. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.